guys, Zoran Solano here from Hot Property Buyers Agency. I'm here with Ryan Hoelzl from Burton and Ryan Property Agents, and I wanted to quiz him and go through a few questions I've got about him, his market, how he works with buyers, how he works with sellers. So thank you very much for being involved, mate.
No worries at all.
Excellent. So, mate, I'm going to split this into three parts. Part one, I want to talk about yourself and your experience. So, as a real estate agent, this should be pretty easy, talking about yourself. And I want to talk about what markets you're most active in and what you're sort of seeing. So kick us off, mate. Tell us a bit about yourself.
No worries. I've been in the industry now 11 years. Worked for two other franchises prior to this. Started our own agency coming up to 8 years ago now. I was 22. So had some good experience in the industry.
And then you guys, yourself and Luke, decided to do your own show.
Yeah, correct. So
excellent.
Opened up the business, Burton and Ryan Property Agents, in 2012. I've been operating ever since. So.
Yeah, great. And so whereabouts do you guys operate? I know you guys actually cover a fairly wide geographical area, but where's your area of specialty?
Yeah, I suppose that's obviously a benefit of being a boutique agency. We've got that scope to be able to obviously move to wherever we need to, but we do focus a lot of our work normally north of Stafford Road. So areas such as Kedron, Wavell Heights, Everton Park, Stafford Heights, etc.
Yeah, okay. And we've seen those areas, well look, those areas are really popular for me. I really like those areas for investment and owner occupying and that sort of stuff. But tell me a bit about what you've seen in the performance of those suburbs from a capital growth point of view. Have they performed well?
Yeah, definitely. So, a lot of times obviously when the market has, and you get that good capital growth, it normally obviously starts from the inner city, then as a ripple effect works out a bit further.
Yeah.
I've noticed obviously 4051 has performed extremely well over the last few years, and that has now started to flow out to Gordon Park, Kedron, Wavell Heights, and those areas are where we've seen, especially Wavell Heights and Kedron, extremely popular and really good capital growth. And using your own words as well, those bridesmaid suburbs off them, has definitely been popular for buyers as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think within that, essentially you're talking about a 6 to 10k or 8 to 10k ring. Some are a bit further out. Everton Park and stuff's about 12k, but you're talking about what is really the middle ring suburban areas.
Yeah, correct. And you're still getting really good value out there. You can still purchase, a good quality home. 3 bedrooms, even a 2-story brick home or a nice postal home.
Yeah.
And 600 square meters. For 550 to 600,000, you can still find them out there.
Yeah. So right now, what do you feel is the most popular style of property? Like if you could have any type of listing and you wish you had 10 of them, what would it look like in those suburbs? What's the most hot property, I suppose? Pardon the pun.
Good question. So 3-bedroom Queenslander, whether on 400 or 600 square meters, cute character, in a good position, location, 9 times out of 10 walks out the door very, very quickly. What we've also seen a lot of interest in has been 607 square meters. You've got a postal home which you can knock down and build a brand new contemporary house on, and they are starting to get extremely good prices, especially in Kedron and Wavell Heights. Where they're reaching and exceeding 1.5, 1.6 million dollars.
For that finished product.
For the finished product, and a lot of people are seeing the value in that. So
So that's a strategy we're very keen on as well, guys, and we see a real opportunity is buying a quality size 607 with a removable house that we can just demo and then building a brand new home. I think that provides great housing for a family, and it's actually something myself and Maddie are looking to do ourselves with our Wavell Heights property. But also as well, I think it's a great opportunity for investors.
Yeah, especially for multi-generational families as well too, where you've got obviously multiple bodies under the one roof, even from an investor's point of view, to be able to buy that type of property, sit on it for a few years and then, down the track look at, going through that process.
Yeah, definitely. And let's now move on to the second part, which I want to talk about is some of your strategies around selling. So tell me a bit about, what your favourite method of sale is. Are you an auction person, a private treaty? Tell me, what do you think's working in your market?
Yeah, good question. So
there's all good questions.
There's no one perfect way when it comes to selling a home. Whether it be auction, for sale by negotiation, offers over, everything has its pros and cons at the end of the day. And, very much suited towards which type of property we think is going to obviously achieve the best result, and in the individual circumstances as well too. I mean, if you're not comfortable with obviously going down the auction path, then it's something that we just don't, recommend and do. But the biggest thing that we gear ourselves towards, or what we want to obviously try and achieve with any strategy, is competition amongst buyers. As you know, when you do create that environment, it really does drive the sales price up. What I do tend to favour a lot, which I find that works well and is a bit of a happy medium between, you know, the auction, the private treaty, or you know, sale by negotiation, is actually doing an offers over strategy. Something I do find myself heavily biased towards, and does work well in a lot of circumstances. Reason being is it is a good way to create competition, and also not putting a ceiling or a limit on what price we can achieve for owners.
So let's just quickly touch on that. Offers over is a very Queensland thing. You know, a lot of Sydney and Melbourne guys and the types of guys we represent and the buyers are the demographic who are probably buying a lot of the stuff you're selling. They're not familiar with that strategy. No. And in fact, it's quite frustrating because they look at the figure and go, 670, yeah, well, I'll give you 670. No, we're actually asking offers over. And so tell me a little bit about your process when it comes to the expectations of the seller generally if you're doing an offers over style campaign. What, are they willing to take $1,000 over that figure and we're all done? Or are they having a bit of a go and can we actually put an offer in below the offers over figure? Tell me, what's that actually indicating when you're asking offers over?
No, it's a good question. So obviously it needs to be at a figure that the owner is, you know, willing to consider or accept at the end of the day. So it cannot be obviously paid advertising where we've got, you know, a figure where an owner wants to accept 650 as their baseline, but we're marking the property at 620 for argument's sake, or offers over 620. So using that, it once again varies on circumstance as well too. You know, just because we ask for offers over a certain figure doesn't always mean that a buyer or someone's willing to pay or see value in the property at that, you know. So in those circumstances, if someone does offer less, we just negotiate it obviously exactly the same way like we would a normal figure. If it's offers over $100,000 and someone offers $90,000, we just countersign the contract at a higher figure and try and meet a happy medium. But obviously when, from a seller's point of view, who we work for, is trying to create that competition amongst buyers to try and drive them as high as we can up and over that price. You know, if they see good value at 650 in the property for argument's sake, and that's where it's marketed offers over, you know, with a bit of competition, we might be able to achieve 670, 675, you know, 680 for it. So, you know, obviously that's the ideal case and scenario. Not every time does it work, but we do find an effective strategy to be able to sort of push buyers and drive that price up.
So talking about buyers, let's just sort of transition now to, I guess, the third part, which is the buyer's side of this process and the equation. In your marketplace, who is the key demographic buying at the moment?
It's a really good, another good question. We're finding a lot of first home buyers, especially at the moment due to COVID. You know, first home buyers have definitely dropped off a little bit. We have found investors doing the same thing and sort of sitting on their hands. We're finding a lot of second home buying properties or upgraders who are out there in the market as well too, or families.
So people with established financial positions.
Correct, or executive, you know, young couples who might have bought a townhouse as their first property and then obviously upgrading to their new home. So, you know, we always do have a lot of families, especially Kedron and Wavell Heights, you know, Stafford Heights, Chermside West, with very much young families, which we find out there in the market at the moment. So that's what we're finding that's really active.
And what type of house are they looking for? Like that particular demographic, are they looking for that 3-bedder that you mentioned before, or are they wanting more house?
Depending. So if they've got kids, then they are looking for something which they can either add further value to down the track and happy to live, you know, with a 3-bedroom, but with now, you know, 2 bathrooms with the potential to be able to add and do more to it. For a young professional couple, they're happy with just the 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom setup. You know, we are finding that families, they do really want, you know, that second living area is the biggest thing. How that second living area comes into play depends on obviously the type of property, but just having that extra space there for the kids is really cool.
One thing that I'm finding is that sort of high set home with downstairs rumpus space may not technically have to be legal height, but as long as it's usable, that adds a lot of value to buyers,
especially with internal stairs as well too and easy access to it.
Exactly. So in your marketplace, which is a competitive market, what are some of the strategies you would suggest to buyers in order for them to be more competitive in that environment?
Biggest thing that we find with buyers is they probably treat all real estate agents alike, you know, and what I find probably a frustration on my point of view is that, you know, I don't like being tarred with the same brush against everyone else, you know. I think myself as a good guy at the end of the day, but, you know, if I've had a bad experience with a real estate agent, which I understand because, you know, the industry, you know, still has a long way to go. Has it as well too. You know, we've definitely got, you know, a reputation as well, but I just find...
I'm going to touch on that reputation in a minute, but keep going.
I think just going up and being friendly with the real estate agent and actually, becoming likeable with them as well too. I think goes a long way.
We have to be memorable. I feel.
Yeah,
a selling agent is seeing so many buyers every weekend that it's hard to unless you're front of mind all the time like a buyer's agent, you don't really get remembered. It's sad to say, but it's true.
And if you're being rude, just
it comes across.
It does, exactly right. And unfortunately, for that, just that it doesn't sit well, with me. And I find other real estate agents, it's feedback I get too as well. So from a buyer's point of view, obviously having your ducks in a row with your finance and knowing, having those conversations, knowing that, you've got your deposit ready and you're ready to obviously move and settlement terms and everything like that, having all that information is key. But I think just being likeable at the end of the day and actually being courteous.
Just touching on that, I guess the reputation of agents. In my opinion, the reputation of real estate agents having a bad rap in the market is often unfounded, and its source is due to a lack of knowledge from the consumer, actually understanding that the selling agent is there for the seller, not you, the buyer. And if they don't do exactly what you want, they don't have an obligation to do that. It's their obligation is to the seller and to get the best price. That's why those type of people, you need a buyer's agent. The person you need to be working with is a buyer's agent to help enhance your position in that marketplace and give you some representation and give you some confidence when buying, because a selling agent is there to extract the best price they can from you, the buyer. And if you don't like that, then unfortunately, that's the way the process works.
So correct, but I'll interrupt it. However, it is also how the real estate agent actually handles the buyer as well too. Like I get a lot of frustration, which I hear from buyers that they go, the way that the real estate agent dealt and handled it. So although we don't work for the buyer, you're exactly right, but we need to help the buyer, and that buyer is a key part in this process to be able to achieve the result for the owner. So we definitely need to work hand in hand with the buyer as well to be able to ultimately achieve the result we want. But it's about how you have those conversations, especially in a multiple offer scenario, which a lot of buyers don't like and get very annoyed with. It's actually how that agent handles that process with the buyer and how they explain it to them and where we're coming from and what we need to do, obviously legally, but in order to achieve the result as well too. So I find when that process is explained and those buyers are dealt with in the right manner, definitely makes a big difference at the end of the day and doesn't put buyers offside. Yeah, great.
We'll finish off with one last question. If you were to purchase a property right now in your key market for the best potential growth for the next 5, 10, 15 years, what would you be buying right now?
I would buy 607 square metres, something that has a good rental return, that you could knock down and look at obviously building in the future, because I don't think that demand's going away. Is the biggest area.
I would definitely agree. In the area that Ryan's most active, that's a key part of the land component is a key driver, because in other capital cities, when you're 6 to 12 k's from the CBD and you're sitting on 607 square metres of land, well, one, it's virtually impossible, Sydney, and then in Melbourne you're paying, right now you'd probably be paying 1.3, 1.4 million at 12 k's from the city for a 607 post-war 3-bed 1-bath type property, which is double what you're paying here in Brisbane at the moment.
And now there's a lot of good recent sales examples of what that product can achieve. Gives obviously buyers a lot of confidence. So even if you're an investor or you want to sit on that, and live in it for the meantime and look at developing it or building on it down the track, I don't think we can go wrong.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks everyone for watching. If you have any questions in relation to this or any of our videos, please give us a call on 3170 3760.